Khaleda.zia Business Head Office. Khaleda.zia. Begum Zia Book Opening Ceremony, 1 Mar, 2010. JPG. Zia in 2010. 10th and 12th Prime Minister of Bangladesh. In office. October 10, 2001, October 29, 2006. President. Shahabuddin Ahmed. Badrodosa Chowdhury. Ayajuddin Ahmed. Preceded by Latifer Rahman, acting. Succeeded by Ayajuddin Ahmed, acting. In office. March 20, 1991, March 30, 1996. President. Shahabuddin Ahmed, acting. Abdurrahman Biswas. Preceded by Qazi Zafar Ahmed. Succeeded by Muhammad Habibur Rahman, acting. Chairperson of the Bangladesh Nationalist Party. Incumbent. Assumed office. May 10, 1984. General Secretary A. Q. M. Badrodosa Chowdhury, 1984 to 1990. Abdus Salam Talukdar, 1990 to 1996. Abdul Manab Bhuiyan, 1996 to 2007. Khandekar Delwar Hussain, 2007 to 2011. Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir, 2011. Preceded by Abdus Sattar. Leader of the Opposition. In office. December 29, 2008, January 9, 2014. Preceded by Sheikh Hasina. Succeeded by Roshan Ershad. In office. June 23, 1996, July 15, 2001. Preceded by Sheikh Hasina. Succeeded by Sheikh Hasina. Member of Parliament. In office. March 20, 1991, July 15, 2001. Preceded by Zafar Imam. Succeeded by Saeed Iskandar. Constituency Feni 1. In office. December 29, 2008, January 9, 2014. Preceded by Saeed Iskandar. Succeeded by Shirin Akhtar. Constituency Feni 1. In office. October 1, 2001, October 29, 2006. Preceded by Zafar Imam. Succeeded by Muhammad Jamiruddin Sarkar. Constituency Bagra 6. Personal details. Born Khaleda Kanam Puchal. See birth date discrepancy. Jalpaiguri, Bengal Presidency, British India. Political party Bangladesh Nationalist Party, 1979 present. Other political affiliations. Four-party alliance, 2001 to 2011. 18-party alliance, 2011 present. Jatiya Oika Front, 2018 present. Spouses Ziaur Rahman. M. 1961,981. Children. Tariq Arafat. Mother Tiaba Majumdar. Father Iskandar Majumdar. Relatives. Saeed Iskandar, brother. Khurshid Jahan, sister. Sharin Islam Tuin, nephew. Saiful Islam Duke, nephew. Khaleda.zia, Bengali pronunciation, Khaleda-ia, born Khaleda Kanam Puchal 12, in 1945, is a Bangladeshi politician who served as the Prime Minister of Bangladesh from 1991 to 1996, and again from 2001 to 2006. 3. She was the first woman in the country's history and second in the Muslim-majority countries, after Benazir Bhutto, to head a democratic government as Prime Minister. She was the wife of a former President of Bangladesh Ziaur Rahman. She is the current chairperson and leader of the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, BNP, which was founded by Rahman in 1978. After a military coup in 1982, led by Army Chief General Hussain Muhammad Ershad, Zia helped lead the movement for democracy until the fall of Ershad in 1990. She became the Prime Minister following the BNP party win in the 1991 general election. She also served briefly in the short-lived government in 1996, when other parties had boycotted the first election. In the next round of general elections of 1996, the Awami League came to power. Her party came to power again in 2001. She has been elected to 5 separate parliamentary constituencies in the general elections of 1991, 1996 and 2001. In its list of the 100 most powerful women in the world, Forbes magazine ranked Zia at number 14 in 2004, number 29 in 2005, and number 33 in 2006. Following her government's term end in 2006, the scheduled January 2007 elections were delayed due to political violence and infighting, resulting in a bloodless military takeover of the caretaker government. During its interim rule, it charged Zia and her 2 sons with corruption. 789. Since the 1980s, Zia's chief rival has been Awami League leader Sheikh Hasina. Since 1991, they have been the only 2 serving as the Prime Minister of Bangladesh. 10. In February 2018, Zia was jailed for a total of 17 years for the Zia Orphanage Trust corruption case and Zia Charitable Trust corruption case. 11. She was found guilty of embezzling funds for the orphanage trusts set up while she had been serving as the Prime Minister. 12. She was transferred to a hospital for medical treatment in April 2019. 13. In March 2020, she was released for 6 months on humanitarian grounds with the conditions that she would stay at her home in Gulshan, Dhaka. 14. Contents: 1. Personal life and family. 1.1 Early life and education. 1.2 Family. 1.3 Contracted COVID-19. 2. Involvement in politics. 3. Anti-Irshad movement. 3.1 BNP and 7-party alliance. 3.2 Boycotting 1986 election. 3.3 Fall of Irshad. 4. Prime Minister. 4.1 First term. 4.2 Second term. 4.3 Third term. 4.4 Foreign policy. 5 Post-premiership, since 2007. 5.1 Detention during the caretaker government. 5.2 Eviction from the cantonment house. 5.3 Boycotting 2014 election. 5.4 Charges and imprisonment in 2018. 6 Birth date discrepancy. 7 Awards and honors. 8 Eponyms. 9 Bibliography. 10 References. 11 External links. Personal life and family. Early life and education. Khaleda Khanam Puchal, 15, was born in 1945 in Jalpaiguri in the then undivided Dinajpur district. Note 1, in Bengal Presidency, British India, now in Jalpaiguri district, India. 316, she was the third of 5 children. 17, her father, Iskandar Majumdar, a tea businessman, was originally from Fulgazi in Noakhali district, now in Feni district. 17, her mother, Diaba Majumdar, 1920 to 2008, was from Chandbari, now in Uttar Dinajpur district. 1817, after the partition of India in 1947, they migrated to Dinajpur town, now in Bangladesh. 3. Khanam first attended Dinajpur Missionary School and later completed her matriculation from Dinajpur Girls' School in 1960. 3. In the same year, she married Ziaur Rahman, then a captain in the Pakistan Army. 19. She then used the name Khaleda.Zia or Begum Khaleda.Zia. Citation needed. Zia then studied at Dinajpur Surendranath College until 1965 when she went to West Pakistan to stay with her husband. 3. In March 1969, they moved from Karachi to Dhaka. 17. Following Rahman's posting, the family then moved to Sholoshahr area in Chittagong. 17. She was a prisoner at Dhaka cantonment in 1971 at the time of Freedom Fight, Liberation War of Independence under custody of Pakistan Army's Major General Jamshed. Family. Zia with husband Ziaur Rahman in 1979. Zia in 1979. Zia's first son, Tariq Rahman, born 1967, got involved into politics and went on to become the acting chairman of Bangladesh Nationalist Party. 20. Her second son, Arafat Rahman Koko, born 1969, died of a cardiac arrest in 2015. 21. Zia's sister, Khurshid Jahan, 1939 to 2006, served as the Minister of Women and Children Affairs during 2001 to 2006. 22. Her younger brother, Saeed Iskandar, 1953 to 2012, was also a politician who served as a Jatiya Sangsad member from the Feni 1 constituency during 2001 to 2006. 23. Her second brother, Shamim Iskandar, is a retired flight engineer of Bangladesh Biman. 24-25, her second sister is Selina Islam. 26. Contracted COVID-19. In April 2021, it was reported that a staff member in Khaleda.zia's home showed symptoms of and tested positive for COVID-19. After it was found that other staffers also contracted COVID-19, she took a test and was found to have contracted COVID-19 herself. Zia exhibited no symptoms of COVID-19 at the time. 27. After having a low fever for 3 days, her health was reported to have been improving on April 18, 2021, with her body temperature dropping. 28. Involvement in politics. On May 30, 1981, Khaleda.zia's husband, the then president of Bangladesh Ziaur Rahman, was assassinated. 29. After his death, on January 2, 1982, she got involved into politics by first becoming a member of Bangladesh Nationalist Party, BNP, the party which was founded by Rahman. 30. She took charge of the vice-chairman position in March 1983. 30. Anti-Irshad movement. In March 1982, the then chief of Bangladesh Army, Hussain Muhammad Irshad, forced Bangladesh's President Justice Abdus Sattar to resign and become the Chief Martial Law Administrator, CMLA, of the country. 31. This marked the beginning of a 9-year-long military dictatorship in Bangladesh. BNP and 7-party alliance. Begum Khaleda.zia, from the first day of Irshad's rule, protested the military dictatorship and had a very uncompromising stance. 32. She became the senior vice president of BNP by May 1983. Under her active leadership, BNP started discussing the possibilities of a unified movement with 6 other parties on August 12, 1983 and formed a 7-party alliance by the first week of September 1983. 3. BNP, led by Khaleda.zia, also reached an action-based agreement with other political parties to launch a movement against Irshad. Begum Khaleda.zia protesting amid tear gas shells during anti-Irshad movement in 1983. On September 30 of 1983, Begum Khaleda.zia led the first major public rally in front of the party office and was hailed by the party workers. On November 28 of 1983, she took part in the Grau movement, encircling, of the Secretariat building at Dhaka along with the alliance leaders, which was quelled by Irshad's ruthless police force, and she was put under house arrest on the same day. Due to the deteriorating health conditions, Justice Abdus Sattar resigned from the position of BNP chief on January 13, 1984 and was replaced by Begum Khaleda.zia, who was then the senior vice president of the party. In May 1984, she was elected as the chairperson of the party in a council by the councillors. 33. After assuming the position of party chief, Khaleda.zia spearheaded the movement against Irshad. In 1984, along with other parties, she declared 6th of February as the Demand Day and 14th of February as Protest Day. Countrywide rallies were organized on those days and activists of the movement died on the streets fighting the ruthless police force loyal to President Irshad. 34. The seven-party alliance held a countrywide mass resistance day on July 9, 1984, in support of their demand for the immediate withdrawal of martial law. The opposition forces called the countrywide ground demonstrations from 16 to 20 September and a full-day hardle on 27 September of 1984. 35. The protests continued in 1985 as well, and as a result, in March of the same year Ershad-led government tightened the grip of martial law and put Begum Khaleda.zia under house arrest. 36. Boycotting 1986 election. To divert the political pressure, Lieutenant General Ershad declared a date for a fresh election in 1986. Initially, the two major opposition alliances, seven-party alliance led by BNP and 15-party alliance led by Awami League, discussed the possibilities of participating in the election, forming a greater election alliance to catch Ershad off the guard. But Awami League refused to form any election alliance, and Sheikh Hasina in a public rally declared anyone who would join the election under Ershad would be a national traitors, on March 19 of 1986. However, Sheikh Hasina's Awami League, along with Communist Party of Bangladesh and 6 other parties, joined the election under Ershad, resulting in the split between the 15-party alliance. On the other hand, Begum Khaleda.zia uncompromisingly declared the election illegal and urged people to resist the election. The government of Ershad put her under house arrest on the eve of the election, while Awami League, Bangladesh Jamaat-e-Islami, Communist Party of Bangladesh and other smaller parties took part in the election, only to lose to the Jatiya Party of Ershad. Begum Khaleda.zia's uncompromising attitude and her defiance to the military dictatorship made an image of an uncompromising leader in the eyes of people. Dr. Gawar Rizvi in his analysis wrote, "The ability to stand up against governmental oppression, to boycott elections, to refuse offices of profit, or to suffer imprisonment are considered evidence of personal sacrifices, something which is greatly admired by the people of a country where politics is generally an unabashed pursuit of power and personal aggrandizement. From the moment Khaleda was installed as the leader of the BNP, she has publicly remained opposed to participation in any election held while Ershad was in power. Her popularity soared after she boycotted the polls in 1986. 32. Later in that year, on the eve of 1986 Bangladeshi presidential election, Khaleda.zia was put under house arrest once again. 37. Fall of Ershad. See also, 1990 mass uprising in Bangladesh. Khaleda.zia was put under house arrest multiple times from 1986 to 1990 by Ershad's military government. On October 13, 1986, she was put under house arrest right before the 1986 Bangladeshi presidential election and was released only after the election. She took the lead on her release and initiated a fresh movement with a view to deposing Ershad. She called a half-day strike on November 10 of the same year, only to be put under house arrest again. 38. On January 24, 1987, when Sheikh Hasina joined the parliament session with other Awami League leaders, Khaleda.zia was on the street demanding the dissolution of the parliament. She called for a mass rally in Dhaka which turned violent and top leaders of BNP were arrested. After that, a series of strikes were organized by seven-party alliance led by Khaleda.zia from February to July 1987. On October 22 of the year, Khaleda.zia's BNP in collaboration with Sheikh Hasina's Awami League declared Dhaka Seize program on November 10 to overthrow Ershad. 39. As a countermeasure, Ershad's government rounded up thousands of political leaders and activists, but on the day of seizing there were complete chaos on the streets and dozens died. The government of Ershad put Khaleda.zia under house arrest after detaining her from Perbani Hotel, from where she was coordinating the movement. On December 11, 1987, Khaleda was set free, but she immediately held a press conference and claimed that she was prepared to die to depose the dictator. 40. Begum Khaleda.zia waving hand to the crowd after the fall of Ershad. After the eventful 1987, 2 following years went relatively calm with sporadic violence. A fresh wave of movements started when BNP's student wing Chhatra Dal started winning most of the student union elections across the country. By 1990, Chhatra Dal took control of 270 out of 321 student unions of the country, riding on the popularity of Khaleda.zia. They also won all the posts of Dhaka University Central Students' Union in 1990. 32. The new committee of Dhaka led by Amanullah Aman declared fresh programs to overthrow Ershad in line with BNP's programs. On October 10 of 1990, in a violent turn of events, Chhatra Dal leader Nasiruddin Jihad died on the street of Dhaka that paved the way for a greater alliance between all the opposition forces. 41. After 2-month-long protests, BNP led by Begum Khaleda.zia, along with other political parties, compelled Ershad to offer his resignation on December 4, 1990. Prime Minister. First term. Zia with U.S. President Bill Clinton. A neutral caretaker government in Bangladesh oversaw elections on February 27, 1991. 42, following 8 years of Ershad presidency. BNP won 140 seats, 11 short of simple majority. 42-43, Zia was sworn in as the country's first female prime minister on March 20, 1991 with the support of a majority of the deputies in parliament. With a unanimous vote, the parliament passed the 12th Amendment to the Constitution in August 1991. The acting president Shahabuddin Ahmed granted Zia nearly all of the powers that were vested in the president at the time, effectively returning Bangladesh to a parliamentary system in September. Zia's administration abolished the Upazila system in November 1991. It formed the Local Government Structure Review Commission, which recommended a 2-tier system of local government, district and union councils. Also, the Thana Development and Coordination Committee was formed to coordinate development activities at the Thana level. 44. Second term. When the opposition boycotted the February 15, 1996 election, Zia's party BNP had a landslide victory in the 6th Jatiya Sanghad. 45. Other major parties demanded a neutral caretaker government to be appointed to oversee the elections. The short-lived parliament hastily introduced the caretaker government by passing the 13th Amendment to the Constitution. The parliament was dissolved to pave the way for parliamentary elections within 90 days. In the June 12, 1996 elections, BNP lost to Sheikh Hasina's Awami League. Winning 116 seats, 45, BNP emerged as the largest opposition party in the country's parliamentary history. Third term. Zia with the President of Brazil Lula da Silva, 2004. Zia with the Indian leader of opposition L.K. Advani in New Delhi, 2006. The BNP formed a 4-party alliance 46, on January 6, 1999 to increase its chances to return to power in the next general elections. These included its former political foe the Jatiya Party, founded by President Ershad after he led a military government, and the Islamic parties of Jamaat-e-Islami Bangladesh and the Islami Oikya Jat. It encouraged protests against the ruling Awami League. Many residents, according to whom, strongly criticized Zia and BNP for allying with Jamaat-e-Islami, 47, which had opposed the independence of Bangladesh in 1971. The 4-party alliance participated in the October 1, 2001 general elections, winning 2/3 of the seats in parliament and 46% of the vote, compared to the principal opposition party's 40%. Zia was sworn in as the Prime Minister of Bangladesh. She worked on a 100-day program to fulfill most of her election pledges to the nation. During this term, the share of domestic resources in economic development efforts grew. Bangladesh began to attract a higher level of international investment for development of the country's infrastructure, energy resources and businesses, including from the United States, Great Britain, and Japan. Restoration of law and order was an achievement during the period. Zia promoted neighborly relations in her foreign policy. In her Look East policy, She worked to bolster regional cooperation in South Asia and adherence to the UN Charter of Human Rights. She negotiated settlement of international disputes, and renounced the use of force in international relations. Bangladesh began to participate in United Nations international peacekeeping efforts. In 2006, Forbes magazine featured her administration in a major story praising her achievements. Her government worked to educate young girls, nearly 70% of Bangladeshi women were illiterate, and distribute food to the poor. Half of Bangladesh's 135 million people live below the poverty line. Her government promoted strong GDP growth, 5%, based on economic reforms and support of an entrepreneurial culture. When Zia became prime minister for the third time, the GDP growth rate of Bangladesh remained above 6%. The Bangladesh per capita national income rose to $482. Foreign exchange reserve of Bangladesh had crossed $3 billion from the previous $1 billion. The foreign direct investments of Bangladesh had risen to $2.5 billion. The industrial sector of the GDP had exceeded 17% at the end of Zia's office. 3. On October 29, 2006, Zia's term in office ended. In accordance with the constitution, a caretaker government would manage in the 90-day interim before general elections. On the eve of the last day, rioting broke out on the streets of central Dhaka due to uncertainty over who would become chief advisor, head of the caretaker government of Bangladesh. Under the constitution, the immediate past Chief Justice was to be appointed. But, Chief Justice Mdakar Mahmud Hassan, K.M. Hassan, declined the position. 48 49 50 51, President Tajuddin Ahmed, as provided for in the Constitution, assumed power as chief advisor on October 29, 2006. 52. He tried to arrange elections and bring all political parties to the table during months of violence. 40 people were killed and hundreds injured in the first month after the government's resignation in November 2006. Mukhlisur Rahman Chowdhury, the presidential advisor, met with Zia and Sheikh Hasina, and other political parties to try to resolve issues and schedule elections. Negotiations continued against a backdrop of political bickering, protests and polarization that threatened the economy. 53-54, officially on December 26, 2006, all political parties joined the planned January 22, 2007 elections. The Awami League pulled out at the last minute, and in January the military intervened to back the caretaker government for a longer interim period. It held power until holding general elections in December 2008. Foreign policy. Saudi Arabia. Zia made some high-profile foreign visits in the later part of 2012. Invited to Saudi Arabia in August by the royal family, she met with the Saudi Crown Prince and Defense Minister Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud to talk about bilateral ties. 55. She tried to promote better access for Bangladeshi migrant workers to the Saudi labor market, which was in decline at the time. 55. People's Republic of China. She went to People's Republic of China in October, at the invitation of the government. She met with Chinese leaders including Vice President Xi Jinping and the Communist Party of China's International Affairs Chief Wang Jirui. 56. Xi became China's paramount leader in 2012. Talks in China related to trade and prospective Chinese investment in Bangladesh. 57, particularly the issue of financing Padma Bridge. At the beginning of 2012, the World Bank, a major prospective financier, had withdrawn, accusing government ministers of graft. 56-58, the BNP announced that the Chinese funding for a second Padma Bridge was confirmed during her visit. 59-60. India. On October 28, 2012, Zia visited India to meet with President Pranab Mukherjee, Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and a number of officials including Foreign Minister Salman Khurshid, National Security Advisor Shiv Shankar Menon, Foreign Secretary Ranjan Mathai and BJP leader and leader of opposition Sushma Swaraj. Talks were scheduled to cover bilateral trade and regional security. 61. Zia's India visit was considered notable as BNP had been considered to have been anti-India compared to its rival Awami League. 62. At her meeting with Prime Minister Singh, Zia said her party wanted to work with India for mutual benefit, including the fight against extremism. 63. Indian officials announced they had come to agreement with her to pursue a common geopolitical doctrine in the greater region to discourage terrorists. 64. Post-premiership, since 2007. Detention during the caretaker government. Former Bangladesh Bank Governor Fakhruddin Ahmed became the chief advisor to the interim caretaker government on January 12, 2007. In March, Zia's eldest son, Tariq Rahman, was arrested for corruption. Enforcing the suppression of political activity under the state of emergency, from 9 April, the government barred politicians from visiting Zia's residence. 65. Her other son, Arafat Rahman, Coco, was arrested for corruption on 16 April. 7. On 17 April, the Daily Star reported that Zia had agreed to go into exile with Arafat. 66. Her family said, the Saudi Arabian government reportedly declined to allow her into the kingdom, apparently because it was reluctant to take in an unwilling guest. 67. Based on an appeal, on 22 April the High Court issued a ruling for the government to explain that she was not confined to her house. On 25 April, the government lifted restrictions on both Zia and Sheikh Hasina. 67. On 7 May, the High Court ordered the government to explain continuing restrictions on Zia. 68. On 17 July, the Anti-Corruption Commission Bangladesh, ACC, sent notices to both Zia and Hasina, requesting that details of their assets be submitted to the commission within 1 week. 69. Zia was asked to appear in court on 27 September in connection with a case for not submitting service returns for daily digital publications limited for years. 70. On 2 September, the government filed charges of corruption against Zia related to the awarding of contracts to Global Agro Trade Company in 2003. 8. She was arrested on 3 September. 71-9. She was detained in a makeshift prison on the Parliament building premises. 72. On the same day, Zia expelled her party Secretary-General Abdul Mannan Bhuiyan and Joint Secretary-General Whip Ashraf Hussain for breaching party discipline. 73. BNP Standing Committee members chose former Minister of Finance Saifur Rahman and former Minister of Water Resources Hafizuddin Ahmed to lead the party. Bangladesh Election Commission subsequently invited Hafizuddin's faction, rather than Zia's, to participate in talks, effectively recognizing the former as the legitimate BNP. Zia challenged this in court, but her appeal was rejected on April 10, 2008. 74. Zia was released on bail on September 11, 2008 from her year-long detention. 75. In December 2008, the caretaker government organized general elections where Zia's party lost to the Awami League and its Grand Alliance, with 13 smaller parties, which took a two-thirds majority of seats in the parliament. Sheikh Hasina became the prime minister, and her party formed government in early 2009. Zia became the opposition leader of the parliament. Citation needed. Further information. 2006 to 2008 Bangladeshi political crisis. Eviction from the cantonment house. Zia's family had been living for 38 years in the 2.72-acre plot house at 6 Shahid Mainul Road House in Dhaka Cantonment. 76. It was the official residence of her husband, Ziaur Rahman, when he was appointed as the Deputy Chief of Staff, DCS, of the Bangladesh Army. 77. After he became the President of Bangladesh, he kept the house as his residence. Following his assassination in 1981, the acting President Abdus Sattar leased the house for life to Zia, for a nominal 101. When the army took over the government in 1983, Hussain Muhammad Ershad confirmed this arrangement. On April 20, 2009, the Directorate of Military Lands and Cantonments handed a notice asking Zia to vacate the cantonment residence. 78-79, several allegations and irregularities mentioned in the notice. First, Zia had been carrying out political activities from the house, which went against a condition of the allotment. Second, one cannot get allotment of 2 government houses in the capital. Third, a civilian cannot get a resident lease within a cantonment. 79. Zia vacated the house on November 13, 2010. 80. She then moved to the residence of her brother, Saeed Iskander, at the Gulshan neighborhood. 81. British Foreign Office Minister Henry Bellingham meeting Zia, 2011. Boycotting 2014 election. Zia's party took a stance on not participating in the 2014 Bangladeshi general election unless it was administered under a non-partisan caretaker government, but the then Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina rejected the demand. 82-83, the Bangladesh Awami League, led by Hasina, won the election in 232 seats, out of 300. 84. The official counts from Dhaka suggested that the turnout here averaged about 22%. 85. In 2016, BNP announced its new National Standing Committee, in which Zia retained her position as the chairperson. 86, 87, 88. U.S. Secretary John Kerry greets Zia at the U.S. Embassy Dhaka, 2016. In 2017, the police conducted a raid on Zia's house search for anti-state documents. 89. Charges and imprisonment in 2018. On July 3, 2008, during the 2007-08 caretaker government rule, ACC had filed a graft case, accusing Zia and 5 others of misappropriating over TK 2.1 crore that had come from a foreign bank as grants for orphans. 90. According to the case, on June 9, 1991, $1.255 million, TK 4.45 crore, grant was transferred from United Saudi Commercial Bank to Prime Minister's Orphanage Fund, a fund that was created by then Prime Minister Zia shortly before the transfer of the grant as part of the embezzlement scheme. 90. On September 5, 1993, she issued a TK 2.33 crore check from the Prime Minister's Orphanage Fund to the Zia Orphanage Trust on the pretext of building an orphanage in Bagra. 90. By April 2006, the deposited amount grew to TK 3.37 crore with accrued interest. In April, June and July 2006, some of the money was transferred to bank accounts of 3 other accused, Salamal, Mominir and Sharfuddin, through different transactions. 91. On February 15, 2007, TK 2.10 crore was withdrawn through pay orders from 2 of the FDR accounts. 90. Zia was accused of misappropriating that money by transferring the amount from a public fund to a private one. 91. On February 8, 2018, during the Awami League government rule, Zia was sentenced to prison for 5 years in that corruption case. 12. Mobile phone jammers were installed at Baksha Bazaar court premises ahead of the verdict. 92. Her party claimed that the verdict was politically biased. 93. Zia was sent to the old Dhaka Central Jail after the verdict. 94. She was imprisoned as the sole inmate at the jail since all the inmates had been transferred to the newly built Dhaka Central Jail in Karanganj in 2016. 95-96. On February 11, 2018, Dhaka Special Judges Court 5 directed the authorities of Dhaka Central Jail to provide first-class division to Zia. 97. On October 31, 2018, the High Court raised her jail term to 10 years after ACC pleaded for a revision. 98. On October 30, 2018, in another case, Zia Charitable Trust graft case, Zia was sentenced to 7 years of rigorous imprisonment. 99. Khaleda is also accused in other 32 cases including Yatco graft case, Nico graft case, Barapakuria coal mine graft case, Darussalam police station cases, Jitrabari police station cases, sedition case, Bomb attack on shipping minister case, Khulna arson case, Qumma arson case, celebrating fake birthday case, undermining national flag case, and loan default case. 100. Zia's nomination papers to contest for Feni 1, Bagra 6 and Bagra 7 constituencies at the 2018 general election were rejected. 101. She was not able to contest because according to Article 66, 2d, of the Constitution, a person shall be disqualified for election as, or for being, a member of Parliament who has been, on conviction for a criminal offence involving moral turpitude, sentenced to imprisonment for a term of not less than 2 years, unless a period of 5 years has elapsed since her release. 102. Her party lost that general election to Awami League. 103. Zia was admitted to Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujib Medical University for medical treatment on April 1, 2019. 13. The High Court and the Supreme Court rejected her bail plea on humanitarian grounds a total 4 times. 14. On March 25, 2020, she was released for 6 months, conditioned she would stay at her home in Gulshan and not leave the country. 14. The government issued this executive decision as per Section 401(1) of the Criminal Code of Procedure, CRPC. 14. Birth date discrepancy. Zia claims 15th of August as her birthday, which is a matter of controversy in Bangladesh politics. 104-105 15th of August is the day many immediate family members of Zia's political rival, Sheikh Hasina, including her father Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, were killed. As a result of the deaths, 15th of August is officially declared National Mourning Day of Bangladesh. 104-106-107, none of Zia's government-issued identification documents show her birthday on 15th of August. 106-108, her matriculation examination certificate lists a birth date of August 9, 1945. Her marriage certificate lists September 5, 1945. Zia's passport indicates a birth date of August 19, 1945. 106-108, Kader Siddiqui, a political ally of Zia, urged her not to celebrate her birthday on 15th of August. 105. The High Court filed a petition against Zia on this issue. 109-110. Awards and honors. On May 24, 2011, the New Jersey State Senate honored Zia as a fighter for democracy. It was the first time the state Senate had so honored any foreign leader and reflects the state's increasing population of immigrants and descendants from South Asia. 111-112. Eponyms. Dishanatri Begum Khaleda.zia Hall at the University of Chittagong. Begum Khaleda.zia Hall, a residential hall at Islamic University, Kashia. 113. Dishanatri Begum Khaleda.zia Hall, a residential hall at the University of Chittagong. 114. Begum Khaleda.zia Hall, a residential hall at Jahangirnagar University. 115. Begum Khaleda.zia Hall, a residential hall at the University of Rajshahi. 116. Bibliography. Allah, Mahfuz, November 18, 2018. Begum Khaleda.zia, Her Life, Her Story. The Universal Academy. ISBN 978-984-9375708.